Hi everyone, this is the first of two videos on setting up your Arduino. In this video we will talk about the wiring, and the second video we'll talk about the coding. So here's your Arduino, and let's just walk through a couple things that you'll need to know. Um, on your Arduino, here's where your cable will be connected to. You've got a little reset button right over here. And then this, if we had a 9-volt battery, we could power with a 9-volt battery. Along the edges are these black, and they're called areas for pin connections. And so each one of these areas has different labels underneath. So you'll see 3-volt, 5-volt, GND, and then you'll see some analog pins right here. You see GND for ground, so I've actually got ground over here as well as right here. And then 5-volt, which will supply our power right over there as well as over here. Okay. On this side, you'll see some digital pins, and we'll talk more about that another time, the difference between the analog pins and the digital pins, but you've got your digital pins right here. What you're going to see on the Arduino, in addition, is obviously this big white piece. That's the piece that kind of sticks out, right? This is a breadboard, and what a breadboard allows someone to do is prototyping, and basically it allows you to expand your pin connections to these pins right here, and we'll talk about how those are connected. Okay, so let's go ahead and set our wiring up. So what I'll always need is ground, and so I'm going to take a black wire, which black represents ground. In truth, the color of the wire does not matter, but we like to use it just so that we can designate it. So there's my ground connection. Okay, I've got this right here. If you have more than 5 servo motors, like you have many more, well, we can use the breadboard pins to connect additional ones. So we can have many more pins, and if that's the case for you, just let me know. But either way, we'll operate as if we've got, a maximum of 5 servo motors that we're going to connect. So my first motor is going to have that connection to ground. The next connection that I'm going to make is to the 5-volt right here. So, and it doesn't matter which pin you put it in. So I could have put my wire in there. I could have put it any one of these right over here. It doesn't matter. So I've got my power ready. I've got my ground ready. Okay. Next thing that I'm going to need to do, and this is the part where we're going to actually use the breadboard. So assuming that I've got more than one servo, I'm going to go ahead and take my white cable, my white wire, and in this case, I'm going to plug it into where it says pin 9. So I could actually plug it into any one of these pins and just change the code, but I know already that the code is set up automatically for pin 9. So I'm going to stick it into pin 9, and here's how you use the breadboard. Basically, I can plug it into any one of these, and it's going to distribute the power or the connection to everything else in the row. So I'm going to put it right here, and that means anything in this row I can plug in this row that this is plugged into. I can plug in a connection over here, and it's going to be working off of pin 9. Okay, that's how a breadboard works. If I were to move this down over here, well, that's fine. Then I would plug in any additional things to this row. So those are the additional connections that I've got. So, all right, this is connected. Let's get my servo motor. And just like we've done before with the servo motor, I have mentioned before that brown is your ground wire, red is your power, and orange is your pin. So I'm going to take the wire off of this black ground. I'm going to take that wire and I'm going to plug it in to my servo right here. Okay. Now I'm going to take my red connection and I'm going to plug that in to my servo for my power. And now here's the additional part for the wiring of the white cable, right? So this was pin number 9 that I'm connected to. I'm going to grab another white wire And what I'm going to do is, just like I said, that 9, I can plug it into any one of these pins, okay, in the same row. And once I plug it in, it doesn't matter to me. I'll just plug it in this one. Now I've got this right here, and I'm going to take this end and plug it in here, okay? All right, so now that's my wire for one servo, okay? If I wanted to add additional servos, well, I would just add an additional ground, an additional 5 volt, and then I would pick another pin, and I would just start maybe with 8, plug in one wire to kind of turn on that whole row, and then plug it into my servo motor. So this is how you wire it up. Now, as far as connecting your servo to your laptop, obviously grab the cable and plug it in, and you'll see that the power turns on. So there we go. I've got a servo ready to go, ready to be wired, and now you're going to watch the second video as far as the code is concerned.